Welcome to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Watts. If you want to change your drinking habits and create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, you're in the right place. This podcast explores the strategies I use to overcome a lifetime of family alcohol abuse, more than 30 years of anxiety and worry about my own drinking, and what felt like an unbreakable daily drinking habit. Becoming an alcohol minimalist means removing excess alcohol from your life so it doesn't remove you from life. It means being able to take alcohol or leave it without feeling deprived. It means to live peacefully, being able to enjoy a glass of wine without feeling guilty and without needing to finish the bottle. With science on our side, we'll shatter your past patterns and eliminate your excuses. Changing your relationship with alcohol is possible. I'm here to help you do it. Let's start now. Well, hello and welcome or welcome back to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. With me, your host, Molly Watts, coming to you from, it is a roasting Oregon. I was going to say toasty. It's beyond toasty. It's right up there with really hot today. First 90 plus day here in Oregon this year, and we're looking for another one tomorrow. So yeah, we're roasting here in Oregon this week. How are you? Welcome to the show. You know, if you're here, you're listening, you understand that this podcast is all about changing your relationship with alcohol using science, mindfulness, compassion. We're aiming for peace, not perfection around here. And today's episode is really an invitation. It is an opportunity to pause and recalibrate as we mark the halfway point of the year. It's coming up. I think it's technically like July 2nd or something like that, but we're right here in June, 6th month of the year. That got me thinking about this. In fact, I don't know about the rest of you. I've said this in my group. Maybe I even said it on the podcast before, because I think I did over the Memorial Day weekend. I am just like gobsmacked that we are already to June. I can't believe that it's summer. I love summer, and I usually feel like I'm looking forward to it forever, and it just is slogging along and never gets here. And this year, I don't know, winter wasn't that bad, I gotta say, for us Oregonians. Chime in there, Oregonians, would you agree? And spring was pretty delightful, and now summer's here, and I'm just, what? It's here already? Wasn't looking forward to it, pinning all of my hopes on it for so long. And so it sort of caught me by surprise that it's here already. Not that I'm complaining, don't in any way, shape, or form. But June kind of made me realize this is the halfway point of this year. And I think it's important to touch base with ourselves, kind of do a mid-year self-audit, not to judge ourselves, not to grade our performance, but to realign with what matters most to us if we feel a little bit off track. And of course, you're not behind. You're just ready to check back in with yourself. And if you're like me and life moves pretty fast, then without intention, the habits that we've had for years and years can take over and autopilot will kick in. And if you're someone like me who had a decades-long daily drinking habit, you can fall back into that without intention. And so it's important to check in with yourself. The halfway point in the year holds a lot of power. It gives us both hindsight and foresight. It is a unique moment to assess what's working, what's not, and what needs attention. Recently on, I think, Thursday episode during Mental Health Awareness Month back in May, I talked about something from Brené Brown's book, Daring Greatly. She wrote, "The space between our professed values and our practiced values is where burnout lives." And really let that land. The truth, that gap, it doesn't just cause emotional exhaustion. It creates dissonance in your brain, what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. It's the discomfort that shows up when your behavior and your beliefs don't match. And that discomfort, it's not just psychological, it's physiological. You may feel drained, irritable, stuck. The good news is that when we become aware of the gap, we can close it. We can align our actions with our aspirations, and that's really what today is all about. I have created a little self-audit tool that I would like to share with you, and it is something that can help you gently explore where you are right now. And of course, it's an acronym. If you know me at all, you know, well, maybe you don't. Maybe I haven't done that much on the podcast. People around me in my personal life know I love a good acronym. I use them all the time. So this acronym is PEACE. And y'all know I love peace, right? P is for progress. E is for emotions. A is for alignment. C is for consistency. And E is for expectations. Now, this isn't a report card. Again, it's a conversation. It is a chance to come back to center. And you can actually download a little worksheet that I created too from the show notes to help you work through this on your own time. So, P, PEACE, PEACE Self-Audit. P, progress. Let's start with what's working. Dr. Teresa Ambile at Harvard calls this the progress principle. And she found that recognizing even small wins fuels motivation more than we realize. Ask yourself, what's gotten better since January? What am I doing now that I wasn't before? What once felt hard, but now feels easier? These are micro moments of growth, and they really matter. E stands for emotions. Now, your emotions are actually data. They aren't anything to be afraid of or frustrated by or worried about. They are just data. And Dr. Mark Brackett from Yale's Center for Emotional Intelligence reminds us that accurately identifying how we feel is essential for managing how we act. So ask yourself, how do I feel about my drinking habits right now? What emotional states are most frequent for me in my life? Guilt, peace, tension, relief? Ask yourself, how do I feel before, during, and after I choose to drink? And this isn't about labeling feelings as good or bad, all right? Sometimes we talk about negative emotions. In this particular instance, I just want you to become aware. It's really all about awareness and just tracking where you are right now with your emotions. A stands for alignment. And this ties back to that Think Thursday episode, which was about aligning your professed values with your practiced values. Are your habits aligned with your core values? Ask yourself, is how I am drinking right now aligned with my long-term goals and with the alcohol minimalist life that I want? Am I embodying what matters to me, or am I just aspiring to it? Do I just think about it? Do I just think that I'm listening and so therefore learning about it? If we're not taking actions that align with those long-term goals, it can lead to that gap, right? Ask yourself, are my values mine, or are they inherited scripts that I've never questioned? Psychological research, including self-determination theory by DC and Ryan, tells us that we thrive when our actions align with our internal motivations. And we want to make sure that our motivations are our own, right? Not some scripts that we've inherited either from our parents or from society or from what our friends are doing. We want to make sure that our professed values are actually our own. Hey, it's Molly, here to talk to you about Sunnyside. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that Sunnyside is my number one recommendation for drinking apps that help you change your relationship with alcohol. I've been a Sunnyside partner for more than 3 years now, and one of the key reasons that I chose Sunnyside to be my app of choice is that they are really focused on continuous improvement, just like me. And for you, it is continuous improvement of the app in terms of how the customer is experiencing it. They've completely redesigned the progress tab from the ground up, which makes it easier for you to see your progress over time. They've introduced mini infographics to help you better see the big picture of drinks reduced and how dry days have added up since you joined Sunnyside. They have a dry day streak tracker now for those of you that are focused on taking a real extended break from drinking, and they intelligently surface trends in your data to highlight any positive things for you, and like a steady decrease in overall drinks over the course of time. These changes and these improvements are something that Sunnyside has continued to do ever since I started working with them. You can check it out over at sunnyside.co/Molly and get started on a 15-day free trial today. C stands for consistency. And Dr. BJ Fogg, who is a Stanford researcher, he teaches that consistency is about tiny steps, not just heroic big efforts. You know, I'm all about those taking small steps. And if you've heard anything about habit loop formation, you may have heard of Charles Duhigg or James Clear, of course, and they talk about the framework of habits and show how cues and routines and rewards build habits over time. And one of the things that really is the hallmark of action that we need to be most concerned with is consistency. Ask yourself, what have I done consistently this year? What routines are becoming automatic if they aren't already? Or do you have habits and routines that are automatic? What are they? And if you haven't been consistent, or if you feel like consistency is always a challenge, then ask yourself, what situations derail me? I want to remind you that consistency isn't about perfection, it's about practice. It's about reps, not rigidity. And we cannot allow our missteps to derail us in terms of not taking action. We have to continuously look for opportunities to meet ourselves where we're at and take one small step that I'm willing to do today that I'll be willing to do again tomorrow, right? The last one in our PEACE Self-Audit framework is E for expectations. Lastly, let's look at what you hoped for. Dr. Carol Dweck, another Stanford scientist, and her mindset theory reminds us that rigid expectations often lead to shame spirals. But when we embrace a growth mindset, we create room for learning. Ask yourself, what did I expect to accomplish by now? Were those expectations realistic? And what needs adjusting? My timeline, my tools, or my target? I love that question. What needs adjusting? My timeline, my tools, or my target? Now, look across your answers. If you download that worksheet, you download and you do this PEACE Self-Audit, look at your answers. Where are the patterns? What do you notice? Maybe your emotions are misaligned. Maybe your expectations were built on old assumptions. Or maybe, like I shared in that Think Thursday episode, your actions actually match your values, but the story you're telling yourself about them needs updating. Awareness is not about fixing, it's about focusing. Pick one element of the PEACE Self-Audit to hold as your intention for the rest of this month. Write it down, make it visible, and honor your choice, right? If you notice, we've got 5 letters in the word peace. We've got 6 months left to go here in the rest of the year, or the second half of the year. So practice one element of the PEACE Self-Audit each month. You'll keep getting better. Keep the one that you work on in July and keep working on it in August, but then add on a new one in August. Self-awareness isn't a judgment, it's a skill, right? And with each audit, you're training your brain to become more mindful, more intentional, and ultimately more at peace. If this episode resonated with you, then go download the PEACE Self-Audit worksheet in the show notes. And if you haven't listened to it yet, I will link that Think Thursday episode on burnout and values because it's a great companion to this work. So I will link it below. Remember, you don't have to overhaul your life. You just need one clear step, one next right move, and you got to keep going. I say it all the time. That's who succeeds at changing their relationship with alcohol or any habit that no longer serves them. They simply keep going. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing the brave and beautiful work of checking in instead of checking out. This is how we build a peaceful relationship with alcohol and with ourselves. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, choose peace, and I will see you on Thursday. Thanks for listening to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Take something you learned from this week's episode and put it into action. Changing your drinking habits and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol is 100% possible. You can stop worrying, stop feeling guilty about overdrinking, and become someone who desires alcohol less. I work with people in 2 different ways, and you can learn about them over at my website. Go to www.mollywatts.com/workwithme or reach out to me directly. Shoot me an email, molly@mollywatts.com. We'll jump on a call and decide what might work best for you. This podcast is really just the beginning of our conversation. Let's keep it going. If there's one thing I know, it's that change is way easier when you stop trying to do it alone.